Um, I got two kind of things that are on my mind. I mean, the housing thing is staying on my mind. I won't let that go. But two good things have kind of happened, sort of. Um, I got past the part where I was stuck in Forza, and then my carpal tunnel started acting up, so I had to quit playing. But I got past it, so I'm glad with that. I'm making some progress in that game. And I found a copy of Crash Bandicoot Racing for Xbox One on Amazon with next day shipping at a decent price. Brand new copy, so that means that this should be fine. So, yeah, so it'll be here tomorrow afternoon because Amazon runs tomorrow afternoon. So, that's a good thing. I'm gonna have that replaced. But guys, I really don't know what to do about it. I know I keep running my mouth about it all over the internet, and I've revealed everything I can to the internet. Okay, I don't know what else to do to ask for help. I can't find a landlord with open anything other than 2 bedroom in anywhere in South Carolina. I got one person looking in another county who's my Medicaid nurse who's trying to see if she can spot something because the income-based housing is such a mess in South Carolina if you're just looking for a place for one person. But I don't know, at least I got some good things going on. I got my groceries. I hadn't gotten an eviction note. I don't see where they have the right to give me one. The building's manager is the problem with her bad attitude. I don't understand it. Everybody whispers about what a jerk she is. Instead of anybody standing up to her, if they're able to leave, they just leave. Nobody wants to stand up to this jerk. And me, I'm left with no choice but to kind of stand up because I can't find a way away from this bozo. I hate it when people want to whisper about a problem in a community and nobody wants to stand up and do something. For all the things my old landlord did, the poor maintenance of the facility, the fact the place almost caught on fire, just everything he'd done after he started having a lot of health problems, which, you can't get much out of a 70-something-year-old, okay? Who's running it out of his garage or whatever. Okay, you can't get much out of somebody that old. Especially when they're, having health issues. Heck, he's probably dead by now. As many health problems as he was having. But before he started having a lot of health issues, he ran a fairly decent, I'm going to say at least mid-tier decent situation before his health, physical and mental, started declining. And like I said, I'd even take a landlord like him. Someone that just did enough to stay open. Just did the bare minimum they had to do to pass the government inspection. Instead of dealing with someone who had a prejudiced heart. And like I said, he did, like I said, when he started to decline, both mentally and physically, he hated every income-based tenant he had. But before his health started to decline, he was someone you could at least work with as long as you paid your rent. As long as he got his money, even though he was slack on a lot of things, like replacing the stove, replacing the refrigerator, fixing the air the right way, I mean, he was at least someone, as long as, he was able to function like a, proper person, we could work with him. And that was the thing, you could work with him before he started getting bad sick. I'd even take somebody like that just ran a mediocre show who would treat a person the way they wanted to be treated. That was the one thing before he started getting sick in the head and in the body that he was about. If people paid their rent and treated him like a human being, he treated them like one. He would always compliment when he come in my apartment and say, John, you're the cleanest tenant I have. And then over here, my standards of clean ain't good enough for this jerk. Like, oh, that ain't clean, that ain't clean. You need to scrub it with a toothbrush and bleach. He never once taught me how to clean. He never once taught, and I had carpet over there. He told me, he'd look at my place. I'd vacuum it regularly like I do here. I'd clean the bathroom and stuff the best I could with what I had available. He never once said he said I was the cleanest tenant he had. And he owned, I think, 3 properties in total. And he said the disabled person was the cleanest person he had. And I was saying a lot for somebody who owned 3 different buildings. And over here, the thing clean that he said was the cleanest he'd ever seen is, well, nothing to these people. She's not happy about it at all. She hadn't been happy about it the whole time. Like I said, the first time I met her, I felt the hatred in her heart towards me. She's had a hatred in her heart towards me since day one. And now she won't let me pay my rent. She's blocked my access to paying it. I mean, whoever has ever been kicked out by a landlord, for the landlord having a personal, hateful disposition towards their handicap. I mean, is that even allowed? Like I said, the other people that get fed up with this crap, they pack up and leave because they're able to find something. I can't find anything. I've showed you guys my entire life on this internet. And I can't find the results I need to get away from this person with a hate-filled heart. A hate-filled heart that expects things from handicapped people we can't do or can't do well. And as far as I can tell, as far as I know, she was born in this country. She doesn't have an accent or anything. And he came from Poland. He came from Poland in the late 80s, early 90s. And until he started getting sick, he treated people like the way he wanted to be treated. As long as you paid your rent, he did the best he could for an elderly man running an operation by himself with no staff. He did the best he could. I swear, before he got sick, things were okay. And when he started getting sick, that's when a lot of my problems started with my unit. The air conditions, the stove, the refrigerator. Those things started happening after he started to decline. That wasn't really his fault. But like I said, he tried. Like I said, I'm not saying he was a saint. But like I said, his health decline is what caused all the problems. The health decline and the car wreck and brain damage. I even pointed out to him, I said, one time, I said, Stan, I said, I've been nice to you the whole time I've been here. I said, you could at least give me some respect. I said, because I hadn't done nothing to you. I said, I'm trying to get out of your building because you need more money for, your health benefits or whatever he was needing over with all his health problems. And like I said, then the government had to step in and tell him to quit harassing me and send me into panic attacks and all that, because they were trying to get me out of his way. And here the government friggin' pays part of the daggone, they subsidize the rent. The government runs this place. And they let somebody like this work here, who has a hate-filled heart towards people who do the best they can. How did I go from being one landlord's pretty much star tenant until his health started declining to an automatic asshole from the first day I locked in the key at this building? And like I said, the only difference is the person I'm dealing with now hasn't liked me since day one. I really wish somebody out there would explain to me how I go from being a star tenant to a man with declining health to a son of a bitch from day one. Someone explain that, please. I never went to a mental ward till I got an apartment over here, because there's no telling what bullshit lies she told them. Like I said, she doesn't want me anywhere near her to confront her. She don't want to speak to me. She wants nothing to do with me when I've done nothing wrong. For 45 years, I have never gone out of my way to harm another human being. Never wanted to. I drove the police so friggin' nuts about that woman next door getting beat at my last apartment. They got pissed off and cussed me out and told me it's not their effing problem. I said, yes, it is. Somebody's in danger. Y'all need to do something. I don't understand it. Over there, things weren't great near the end because his health declined and his standards had declined of who would pay the high rent he was charging. But, I don't know. Just thinking the fact that until he got sick, things were, I don't know, they were alright. And like I said, most of our real problems didn't start until he started getting unable to manage them. When I first moved in, he cut the grass. By the time I left, the grass hardly got cut even when he paid somebody. It's weird just thinking of somebody like that. Somebody that went from someone you could understand, someone that could look at you like that, and then one car wreck and their whole brain chemistry changes. They hate your guts for being on a fixed income. But before that, they treated you fair. Just imagine how much concussion can change somebody's personality. But like I said, I was a son of a bitch from day one the minute I turned the lock in that key and signed that first lease. Like I said, there's no telling what the hell lies that she's told people because I have a mental illness. And my mental illness, 45 years, has never, ever taught me to seek out harm to anyone. Like Scarlett says, violence solves nothing. Vengeance is the Lord's. She tells me that crap all the time. And she's telling me this will work out somehow. But I wish I could be like those other people that got fed up with this bullshit and was able to find some way away from this place. I wish I could find a way away from just Anderson County in general. I hate this whole fucking town of the way they treat the disabled. I'd love to go to another town. I'd love to go to just anywhere where I'm going to be treated as a person and not a symptom like they do here. Like I said, if I had a chronic asthma attack and need to go to the hospital, they're going to I don't know if it's this policy now, but they're going to handcuff me for a fucking asthma attack because of their goddamn policies. Because they also know I'm a schizophrenic. I think their fucking policies suck. Because I have no intentions of becoming violent. I've been in handcuffs 3 times since I've been in this building. All of them for mental health shit that I didn't even do. Lies. When I went in that room with that judge, that lawyer, I barely knew him. We just about to speak for 5 minutes. And he told him I was trying to be compliant, but I couldn't get a ride. You know, when I lived over there at the other building, I had no trouble getting a Medicaid van to come get me to get to the building. I could call them, set up my appointment. I get mental health every time. I get to all these other places every time. Until I got here, I had trouble with Medicaid van. When I got here, I couldn't get the Medicaid van to be consistent. So now, no local doctor's office will deal with me because the van will not show up in this parking lot like it's supposed to. Like I said, I didn't have any problems. I mean, I had some problems living over there. I was having asthma attacks all the time because of all the drug smoking and stuff. And I mean, I was having problems over there as far as my health needs, like I'm having my problems here. The only problem is over there. Me and him got along enough as long as the money was ending up in his pocket. Until he started having declining health issues. Over here, I was a son of a bitch from day one. And that has not changed. You know, they say when you look into someone's eyes, you can see their soul. When I look into the eyes of the woman that runs this place, I see nothing but evil. I see nothing but a dark-hearted, hate-filled bitch. And I would love for God to get me the hell away from this shit. Like I keep saying, it's going to take an act of God to get me away from this. Because I don't deserve to be over here in this shit. I didn't deserve to be over there with all those crackheads and prostitutes when they started showing up. I don't belong in the middle of any of this goddamn shit. Where the hell is my fucking exit plan? Why is them guys down there and these other people that get fed up with shit, why can they find a fucking way out here and I can't? Where's my way out? I want the fuck out of this shit. I don't want to put up with some evil piece of shit. Please, there's got to be some fucking way to get me out of this mess. I don't want a fucking eviction on my record because I'm dealing with a person with a hateful heart. I want away from this evil piece of shit.